All right, we're ready to begin the late war turn. The situation is right now, if Middle East scoring was to occur, I would have presence and my opponent would not, so that would give me 3 points. We are even in a country count of Africa, however, I control battleground, so that would give me a 4th point. However, at the end of the late war, the U.S. player is going to gain 3. So I have a slight advantage right now. We are in a late war. The DEFCON status is 3. Russia will have the first turn, and right now the U.S. has 2 victory points. So the first thing we're going to do is take my late war cards and shuffle them into the deck. And since we're at 3, that is no longer applicable. I'm going to deal myself 8 new cards. Let's give them a cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7 plus a headline plus a hold. Let's see what we got for our headline. I do have the U.S. presidential elections, which is probably going to be the headline. We have Mr. Niet. I think I'm better off saving that for the ops. Then remove USS. Oh, that's a U.S. event. U.S. may reallocate up to 3 influence from one country to another. Draws 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. That might be a usable headline. If the U.S. controls Kenya, really don't want to. Oh, we get Middle East scoring. That would give me 3 points if I started that right off the bat. USSR may add 1 influence anywhere and take an 8th action round this turn. That's possible. Okay, so I have 3 US events. I can always play this as an event. I don't need to use this as a headline. Okay, so we're going to go US presidential elections for my headline. That is effectively the defectors for Russia. The U.S. event. We have a late war. This is playable by either. Discard an event card. This is RS-41. RS-41 is not playable as a headline, so we're going to set that aside. Victorious leader. RS-6. Playable if USS controlled. Playable if any USSR controlled countries. Okay, so this is a playable event. So this becomes his headline. This gets shuffled back into the deck. And because I played U.S. presidential election, his headline is canceled. They both go to the graveyard. It is now USSR action round 1. I want to set up for that scoring. Okay, I'm going to end up using a 4-up card. We're going to play Mr. Niet. Degrade DEFCON level by 1. So we're now at DEFCON 2. No coups are allowed in Saudi Arabia. Remove all U.S. influence from 2 countries where USSR has influence. So I'm going to take away all of his Saudi Arabia influence, and we're going to take away all of his Ethiopia influence. No more than 1 country per region. So that gives me control of Ethiopia, but not control of Saudi Arabia. It is now the U.S. turn. The U.S., this is a Russian, so that goes away. He has 2 ops. Does not control flashpoint country. That is a true statement. Okay, he's going to play one to remove controlled Flashpoint Company, or sufficient countries to prevent an automatic victory. So Arab League does not work. Roll a die and subtract 1 for every USS control adjacent to Ethiopia. On a modified 5 or 6, the US receives 2 victory points and replaces. Okay, it looks like this is, if it's playable. So Oden War, playable if USS controlled countries adjacent to Ethiopia and military ops. This is a true statement, so he's going to do this. Somalia invades Ethiopia. Roll a die and subtract 1 for every USSR controlled country adjacent. So it's -1. On a modified rule of 5 or 6, the US receives 2 victory points and replaces all the influence in Ethiopia. US adds 2 to its military ops. Cannot be used after RS-29. Okay, that is not in effect. So we got, basically he needs a 6. He gets a 5 on a modified rule. So it's -1. It does not work. All right, now we're on Russian action round 2. I need to get 2 more influence. We're going to play Marxist-Leninist vanguard parties for ops, and we are going to put 2 ops into Saudi Arabia. U.S. action round 2. This goes into late war, albino Stalinist economics for the remainder of the turn. U.S. Ooh. Okay. Kind of like a purge. Let's see what we do. Does not control. This is where he goes. Play leftmost event card in line that removes USS control. Adds 1 influence more to Sudan. That is not going to prevent the victory. For the remainder of the turn, that is not going to prevent the victory, so he cannot do that. He's going to coup, no, because of DEF CON. He's going to realign if he has a net +2 modifier. He does not. He play the first card in the event line. Okay, this is only playable if he controls the Middle Eastern countries. So this one is playable. Strongman of Sudan. U.S. adds 1 influence more in Sudan than I have in Ethiopia. So he gains control of Sudan with 2. And then this goes to the discard. Nope, this is removed from play. Not a whole lot of difference, because we're not going to get reshuffle anyhow. And now we're at USSR 3. And we're going to score the Middle East before he gets into Egypt. All right. The U.S. does not have presence. I have domination, which is 5. I have a battleground country, which is 6. He has more influence in the strategic plane, so I gain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this, it goes to this card. US 3. Peace Corps. Okay. Remove 1 USS from a non-USSR controlled country. Add 1 US influence to 2 US controlled countries. That is not going to prevent the instant victory. He can't coup the flashpoint country. There is none with +2 modifiers. Oh wait, nope, because I have +1, +2. He has +2, so that's an even. First playable card, Arab League. He doesn't control. It's not playable unless he can get the 3 victory points. So this is playable. So for the remainder of the turn, I get -1 operations to any card. Let's double check that. RS5. Playable only as headline or in action round 1. So this is actually not playable. No, he's still playing this. He's going across here. Remove 1 USSR influence from a non-USSR controlled country. There are none. And he's going to end up placing influence. No U.S. influence in Africa. No, that's not true. Spaces without U.S. control. Egypt, Ethiopia, Somalia, okay. Also strategic. Africa not in discard. That's a true statement. So he's going to go for a flashpoint country, but he only, so 2 ops. So he is going to go for a flashpoint country. So it can either be this one or this one. Battleground country. Okay, it's going to be a flashpoint country. So it's going to be one of those 2. Not a battleground. That would be Ethiopia. So he places 1 in Ethiopia, breaks my control. USSR 4. I think we're going to play Gosplan Advisors for the event. I draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. Okay. So we will get rid of this one and the events of 86. USSR or US AR4. It's a US event. RS9. US will modify the next non-USSR space race die roll. If it is a 1, it is a 1. If the USSR is rolling, a 6 of the DS is rolling. So what does he do? He does not control. Okay, he has nothing to remove. 4 results. He cannot coup. He has no +2 modifiers. Cannot play the event. Places influence, yes. So he is going to place his 4 influence into, we do 1 in Ethiopia, that gives him control. Okay, that's a no. Spaces without U.S. control, yes. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4. Best net realignment, that doesn't matter. Not in the flashpoint country. So this becomes a 2. That's 1 point he added. He's got 3 more points to add. So we go back to spaces without U.S. control. 1, 2, 3, 4. Best realignment modifier. Okay, he goes to a flashpoint country. So he is going to add, yeah, because it's not controlled. 1 to Somalia. That costs him 2 ops. And then if we do it again, he's going to end up placing a second one in Somalia. USSR 5. Oh, we are going to play this for the event. Add 1 USSR influence to strategic sea lanes for every Middle Eastern country without U.S. influence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. US 5. Another event. 3 ORs, or 3 OPs. He does control a country. He can't coup. Wait, he does control a country. So has more choke point influence. So I do have a choke point there. And that is my only choke point. He would coup in a choke point country with at least 2 operations. 3 of us Incorruptibility country. No. A 2 would remove, nope, can't coup. If there's a choke point with at least a +1 modifier. No, there's Kenya though. So no, no. So DEFCON is 3, it is not. Military ops is not less than decon. So he's going to play the first playable event in the car line. Arab League, not playable. Mid-war Peace Corps. Peace Corps is playable if at least one U.S.-controlled country and USSR influence in a non-USS. Play if at least one controlled country and USSR influence in a non-country. Okay, so remove one USSR influence from a non-USSR controlled country. So you could remove it from remove influence. Okay. So non-USSR country, not space. So that would be this one or this one. Neither one of them are isolated. Africa scoring is not in the discard. It's not in the discard, so it's going to be a flashpoint country. So from a okay, that can't be a battleground with the least needed for control. Okay, he already has controlled that. So we go to this one. He removes one for me. And then he adds one, which is going to give him an adds one to 2 U.S. controlled countries. All right, so we will add one to Ethiopia because he has 3. And we will add one to Sudan. USSR 6. We're going to use presidential directive to coup the Sudan. So I have a 2. Ooh, wait, no. Yeah, that is not in the play yet. Okay, good. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 2 is 4. So 3 U.S. go away, and I get a Russian control of Sudan. And we go U.S. 6. That's not playable, but he has one OR. He does not control. Okay, play an event that removes. Okay, Z big. Looks like he's going to get to use Z big. Removes, okay. Play leftmost event card. So this one does not remove it. This one does not remove it. However, Z big does. Make one coup attempt using this card's operation value. This coup attempt is not restricted by and has no effect on the decon track. So this is RS2. Playable is if DEFCON is 2 or 3 exactly. This is playable. Okay, so where's he going to coup? Choke point, battleground, and flashpoint countries. So we have a choke point, we have a battleground, and we have a flashpoint country. Africa card is not in discard. Lowest coup to remove all USSR influence. So this would require a 2, because he gets 3. Yeah, he needs a 2 there. He needs a 6. Well, he needs a 5, a 6, no, a 7, or a 2. So right now he's coupping Sudan. that means he's going to coup Sudan? That is silly. Oh no, well he could coup Ethiopia, but he already has control of that. According to this, let me go through it again. A choke point, yes. A battleground, yes. And a flashpoint, yes. It says coup Sudan, so we're going to coup Sudan. He gets a 6, plus 3 is 9, minus 2 is 7, 6. He gets 6 in Sudan. And that goes to the discard. Now we are on Russia 7. All right, we're going to use the dirge for influence. We're going to add 1 to the strategic sea lanes. And we are going to add 1 to Somalia. And finally, US 7. Kenya joins Rapid Deployment Force. That goes here. Okay. He controls a country. I do not. Oh, I do have checkpoint. Check. Okay, none of his events remove influence. He can't coup that one anyhow because it's in Middle East. He cannot coup because of DEFCON. There is no choke points with a +1 modifier. DEFCON is not 3. His no ops is fine. So he's going to play the first playable event. He cannot score 3 victory points. He plays this one. It doesn't do any good, but he plays it. And that ends the game. Final scoring. Both regions are scored. All right. At the end of turn 2, both regions are scored. All right, final scoring. First thing that's going to happen is he's going to go up 1 on a space track at the end of his turn and gain 3 victory points, which means we are at 0 right now. We end up scoring both regions. So in the Middle East, I only control 1 of the battlegrounds, but I do have dominations for 5 points. He does not have a presence, so I gain 5 points. The strategic lane only affects the scoring cards, so that is not going to help my score in Egypt. However, in Africa, I do not have, he has presence because he does not control battleground. I do not have domination, so I have presence, so I gain 1 victory point for control of Kenya. And I should have gained 1 more victory point for control of Saudi Arabia. So, USSR wins with 7 victory points. I hope you've enjoyed this. I find it a great game. I apologize if I've made any mistakes. Please put them in the comments when and if you find them. And until next time, I hear the conductor. That means it's time to go. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and a comment. Until next time, have fun training.